Welcome to All the Gear But No Idea, the South Australian fishing podcast hosted by Rhodey and Diz. The boys will share their tall tales of the one that got away, as well as some regular segments they know all you fishing tragics will enjoy.
G'day guys, and welcome to episode 60 of All the Gear But No Idea, the South Australian fishing podcast. Rhodey, it's a pleasure to be here with you, and boy does this sound crisp.
Dizzy, we'll get into that once we hit the oranges and lemons, but yes, it is crisp and beautiful sound.
Absolutely, Rhodey. We have got Jason from Port MacDonnell Charters coming on the show with us. Of course, Jason runs a spectacular charter business down there in that wonderful part of the world, and we'll talk a bit more about that later, about our adventure. We did, of course, go out with Tice. He's 2IC, I think it'd be fair to say.
Yes.
But what a day that was.
It was, Diz. Are we getting into the oranges here?
I think we should get into the oranges and lemons because just a bit of a teaser for the listeners out there, I thought, Rhodey.
Yes,
about
Diz.
what's to come.
Yeah, no, officially this is the oranges and lemons, and we are going to start off with a great day out last week with Port MacDonnell Fishing Charters.
Yeah, it was a great day. Really did luck out with the weather.
Yeah,
it was a spectacular
yeah,
day. Bit of swell about, but
not a breath of wind.
No, not a breath of wind. It was great weather. We have been down there before a few years ago, and that got called off once or twice, I think, for weather.
Yeah.
So it was great to be able to line that up for the weekend and get down there.
And we'll sort of go into this further as the day goes on, as the episode goes on. But we got into some school fish, Diz.
Yeah, we got some schoolies. They weren't as easy as we are told they have been.
Yep. Bit of hard work to find the schools.
Bit of hard work to find the schools, and even when we did, they weren't as aggressive as they probably could have been.
It was 5 or 6 lures out, and we were only really catching singles.
Yeah, we're only getting singles, and I mean, I saw quite a few times the bait that they were chasing, and it was tiny little white bait schools. Nothing like what obviously the barrels were after, in a bit closer.
Yeah.
And we will get onto that a bit later, but as they say, match the hatch, and it would have been difficult to match the hatch with how small that bait was.
It would have, Diz. You would have had your little salmon lures out there, I reckon.
Yeah, absolutely. But nonetheless, we got onto some, and good to get some tuna. And geez, might even share with the listeners a bit of a recipe.
Yes, Diz. We're about to get into what I've been doing the last week, but I have been cooking.
Absolutely, mate. Absolutely.
All right, Diz, we should move on to our second orange. What have you got for us?
Well, the second orange is probably an absolute, it's an easy one. I'm sure the listeners are experiencing this as it comes to their ears through whatever channel they choose to listen to our podcast to, but this sound is crisp. New mixer, new mics, new us.
We've gone all out thanks to Rode microphones.
Normally you do this around sort of like a New Year's resolution. We've just gone an end of financial year sale.
Yeah, we'll call it that.
An end of financial year sale is what we sort of took advantage of. They absolutely fleeced us. They saw us coming from a mile away. And but really good gear.
I think we had the least idea about the music industry out of anyone that's ever been into that store.
Yeah, no, we they could have told us anything they wanted,
and I think they did.
We would have just said, "Yeah, sure, mate, whatever you reckon."
Anyway, it's good, Diz. We've had some feedback that the sound quality isn't the best up until now.
Yeah, I mean, look, like we've said to a few people, the good old Yeti, good quality mic.
USB mic, but simple.
USB mic, very simple, no functionality. Didn't have the extreme capability of the Rodecaster Pro, but just dialing people in. And obviously that's what we build our podcast on, Rhodey, getting people on the line.
And I know my Tupperware container of oats holding the phone up to the right level of the microphone did us well for 59 episodes.
Yeah.
But we can now plug the phone directly into the mixer to get premium audio quality.
I suppose you and Lucy are finally enjoying those oats.
Oh, yeah, we haven't been able to eat them for a long time.
59 episodes. They had a bit of fur on them, but they were not too bad.
And I'd like to add that the number one sort of critic of the previous audio system was my mum.
Yeah, Robin was... Well, I can't help but feel like she kept that pretty close to her chest for 59 episodes.
Yeah, but once we said we're talking about getting a new one, she wouldn't shut up about it.
She almost paid for it for us, I think. We should have actually bargained her a bit harder on the mixer, because I reckon we could have convinced her to buy it.
And don't you love it when you're taking the piss out of someone and you're like, oh, the only one that stood up for you was your mum? She gave me nothing.
She did. She gave you nothing. Not a single thing. Alrighty, let's go down to the lemons because, look, I'll get us started. Charter, excellent. We're going to talk to Jay Slater today, and he's going to tell us a bit more about his business, but it was a spectacular day out, and don't let this lemon get in the way of getting you down there to Port Mac and get out with the boys. But no barrels, Rody.
Yeah, it was a really good day, Diz, but you're right. We weren't there to catch schoolfish.
No.
And we knew we weren't 100% chance. We thought, hopefully, fingers crossed, we'd go down there and get one. But it wasn't the day. And, who knows why. It didn't seem like that many boats were getting into them. We sort of probably heard 3 or 4 fish get caught, Diz.
Yeah, I think Tice, who took us out that day, had said that, from what he could gather around the word getting around, that there was probably a couple of fish caught.
And that was probably out of 50 boats heading out?
Yeah, I reckon 50 to 60 boats heading out. And, I mean, when a bait ball came up, there would have been 20 boats on one bait ball probably.
Yeah, and Diz, we'll ask Jace about this, but it's interesting. When we've been down there in the past, it was strictly a trolling lures sort of day.
Mm.
Very different this time with the live baiting's become the technique of choice.
Yeah, seems to be. I suppose one of those things, I guess, just, fishing evolves and people have success in different ways. But, certainly there wasn't a lot of trolling going on. No. We did a bit of that early doors.
Yeah.
Just to kind of maybe even just cover some territory to
almost
see where the bait balls were.
Almost before we found the bait balls, yeah.
Yeah. But, no, I was amazed at the amount of boats out there, Rhodey.
Considering Tyson said that was a quiet day.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And a lot of people obviously just nipping across the border there from Victoria, and then people travelling obviously all across. But, it was amazing how close they were to the ramp. And
I know it was a good weather day, but there were a lot of small boats.
Yeah, a lot of small boats. Definitely boats a lot smaller than because we were sort of, can we take our boat down there? How much do we need to keep an eye on the weather? Blah, blah, blah. But yeah, geez, I mean, there was some probably 4.6 metre tinnies down there.
Yeah, there was. And people going out their own too.
Yeah.
It'd be a fair effort getting a barrel in on your own.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, you follow the Facebook pages. Occasionally you see people get them solo, but certainly somebody to get to, help gaff the fish, then, even just dragging, sometimes 120 kilos over the side of your boat wouldn't be an easy task.
No, not at all. Especially on those tinnies. They obviously don't have a big door on the side like the charter boat did.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So, no, credit to all of them who got onto them. And I don't think that'll be our last trip down there, Rody.
No, I think we'll give it another crack next year. We will touch on this in the fishing report. It is getting to the end of the season. There are still some fish around.
Yeah.
But I think we might look to get sort of bang on the middle of the season next year.
Yeah. Tice talked a big game of the Port Mac fishing comp.
Yeah, and I like the idea.
So you might whack that one in the diary.
Yeah, no, we could be talked into that. We could go live next year. You never know.
We could. Rody, what's your lemon been, mate?
Look, Diz, great weekend. Came home, sort of had a bit of a cough on the way home in the car. You carried on like a bit of a pork chop.
By bit of a cough, we're talking somebody who sounds like they've been a 50-pack a day for 10 years.
Anyway, I did do a rat before we got in the car, and of course I was negative. I wouldn't have put you through that otherwise. But
how are you getting home if you were positive?
I don't know. I had the car, mate. I don't know how you were getting home.
I was flying. I was treating myself to a Rex, first class Rex flight.
But On cue, I did have COVID the last week, so that's sort of why we're probably a week behind schedule on the podcast is.
Yes, yeah, no, that's all right. I'm sure the listeners will forgive us, and we'll look forward to hearing a bit about your COVID ISO activities.
We will, Diz. We'll have to have a little...
maybe in the report.
Little what did you do in COVID special.
Yeah, good call. Righty, let's give the listeners a bit of an update on the merch because, of course, the beanies have been selling like absolute hotcakes. They've been flying. In fact, are we sold out?
Basically, there might be one or two left. I'll have to recount the stock. Sit amongst the caps and all that. I think there might be a couple left, but there is another 50 on order to be here in a couple of weeks, end of July.
Yeah, so get in now pre-orders probably. Keep the messages coming through because once they hit the deck over here, we'll be selling them.
Yeah, no, they'll go like hotcakes, Diz. They're good beanies. They kept our heads beautifully warm out at Port MacDonnell.
Yep.
And that's no mean feat because it's a cold place.
Oh, yeah, it's a cold place, right? And look, there's still some people who we know will be purchasing beanies. We know they will, but they just haven't yet.
They're just slack.
So to those of you who know I'm talking to,
you know who you are.
You know who you are. Get a bloody order in, champion.
And we're disappointed.
We are. We're not happy. We're not happy. How good would it be to watch Nick Kyrgios just roll out with a bit of all the gear on his noggin?
How much heat did he cop for that red cap?
Oh, gosh. Let's not get into that.
Talking about caps, Diz, there are still navy and grey caps available.
Wimbledon would almost probably give that a leave pass if you walked out there with a navy.
Well, the grey's probably close enough to white.
Grey's more of an off-white.
Yeah, I'd call it an off-white. But anyway, the caps are still available, and that's what you need to be looking for as we move out of this cold winter and into the warmer months.
Absolutely, Brody. Let's get into the news because a bit of news coming out of Recfish. So Recfish SA have a survey running at the moment. If you follow them on Facebook, the sort of title, do you want to help improve recreational fishing in South Australia, might be a bit sort of have caught to your eye, so to speak. But Recfish is basically wanting those fishers who enjoy getting out there to play a greater role in the development of recreational fishing across the state. So the survey is Recfish SA Fishing Priorities Survey. So it's just a survey monkey and it just goes through a whole range of different activities that all of us rec fishers across the state enjoy doing and what your priorities are for each of those different areas. So they talk about investing in aquatic environment, restoration projects, etc., etc. But couldn't encourage you any more to jump on there and complete the survey because if we don't tell these government officials and the likes what we want, it's certainly not going to happen.
Yeah, you're right, Diz. A lot of people do cry out for the opportunity to sort of get their voice heard by Recfish and these sort of organisations. And I suppose keeping in mind that they can't sort of do what everyone wants them to do. It's going to be sort of a majority type thing. But this is your chance to get your voice out there, Diz. And I suppose all the money that's promised by the pollies, this sort of will dictate where that money goes.
Yeah, absolutely, Rody. I think it's a great thing that they all do. And Recfish seems to be, one of those prominent organisations that represent us fishers, so get amongst it.
And I haven't done it, Diz, have you?
Yes, I have.
You have? Good man. And I think it closes on the 22nd, did I read?
Yeah, it does.
22nd of July?
Yeah, so get on it now, basically.
Yeah, and then our next piece of news, Diz, is that there's a public fishing forum coming up just after that on the 28th of July, which is a Thursday night at the Lakes Resort Hotel at West Lakes.
Yep.
And that's when the results of this survey are going to be shared with the public.
Yep, which is good. Then we'll be able to see, I guess, across the board what those priorities are and where the focus might be and et cetera, et cetera.
And a part of this forum, they're going to have Minister Claire Scriven, who's Primary Industries and Resources, Minister Katrine Hildyard, who's Recreation, Sport and Racing, along with the Executive Director of Pursa Fisheries, Gavin Begg.
Yes, that's good. And both those members we've reached out to and hope to have on the podcast at some stage.
We have Diz, and I suppose those three people hold a lot of the power in fishing in this state. So would be really good to hear where their thoughts lie.
Well, Minister Scriven, of course, from the southeast. I believe.
You're telling the story, mate.
I believe we could be proven wrong here, but I think Minister Scriven is from the southeast, and she might even be interested to hear about our weekend escape down at Port Mac.
You're right, Diz. She was raised in Mount Gambier.
Okay, there you go. So I wasn't dreaming that. It would have been a weird dream.
It would have.
Rhodey, next story in our news segment this week is a bit of an interesting one coming out about a study that's on the way to protect a species which is not commonly targeted by rec fishos rod and reel.
It's not, Diz. It seems to be more of a, you would say more of a spearfishing thing.
Yeah, I'd say so. I guess it's one of those species that you would see more commonly if you're sort of diving, snorkeling, around some reefy area.
And should we share with the listeners what this species is, Diz?
Yeah, we're just keeping them in a bit of anticipation, Rhodey. But of course we're talking about the Yorke Peninsula ginbarra.
Yeah, so that's the native name for the fish, I believe, Diz. The native Narungga indigenous community call it the ginbarra fish. But it's also known as the dusky morwong or the butterfish or the strongy or strongfish.
Yeah, I mean, I've certainly heard of people going out for a spear of some strongies.
Yeah, Diz. Dave Schofield, who out on the show from the Gulf Skin Divers, he talked about it as a strongy and talked about it being underrated as an eating fish.
Yeah, sort of getting amongst it. Fresh, I think. Fresh on the barbie.
Yep.
Bit of butter, bit of garlic, something along those lines, I think he was talking.
Yeah, but anyway, Diz, this is a fish that the native indigenous community from the Yorke Peninsula has been eating for thousands and thousands of years. And over the past about 10 years, they think the numbers and the size of these fish is on the decline, and they want to know why.
Yeah, so there's been a few theories thrown around, hasn't there?
There has, Diz. So they talk about somewhere between global warming and the runoff from farming.
Yeah, a few nitrates, a few phosphates.
And also whether or not the recreational fishing plays a part in it as well.
Yeah, and I guess that's the reason why they've commissioned this study, Rhodey, is just to see see exactly what's going on with this population of fish, and of course protect it for the indigenous community that have been hunting and sustainably targeting for, like you say, thousands of years.
So yeah, Diz, they're getting some scientific data on the fish, and it's being this research is being done by the Fisheries Research and Development Corporation, along with Southern Fishery and Ecosystem Solutions. It'll be led by Narungga man Gary Goldsmith with the guidance of the Indigenous Reference Group.
Yes, which is good.
And Diz, it's interesting how they used to hunt for these fish, or they still do, the native people, the native indigenous communities. They talk about when the tides come in, the fish come in to feed, especially the bigger ones, and they would go out and wade in the water and then kick up the sand to attract the fish. And then there's a picture here of like a giant spear held up by 6 blokes in this picture, but it's got to be 4 or 5 metres long with 3 prongs on the end, and they'd use that to spear the fish.
Yes. Yeah, amazing, isn't it?
So that's their native way of hunting for the ginbarra. And interestingly here, Diz, this project's results would be presented at next year's Ginbarra Festival at Port Victoria and Point Pearce.
Yes, well, like we said, obviously a well-respected fish in that Indigenous community if they've got a festival after it.
Certainly is, Diz, and good to see them doing the research to find out exactly what they need to know about this species and how to protect it.
Absolutely, Rhodey. That's great. Now let's go into our next story in the news segment, which is a bit of an update. But something we have covered in the rec snapper fishing in the southeast area.
Yeah, Diz. So basically this news article is telling you that nothing's going to change because the current rules around southeast snapper fishing for recos is remaining the same for the next financial year. So 1 July 2022 through to 30 June 2023. The rules will remain the same. So the total allowable catch for the recos is 2,585 individual snapper, while the charter boat operators will be allowed to catch 3,233 individual snapper.
Very good. Very good, Rody.
Everything else stays the same. So minimum size limit of 38, a daily bag limit of 1 or 3 for the boat. And you still need to report all snapper catches through either the SA Fishing app or the Fishwatch phone number.
Very good. Very good, Rody. Couple more articles to get through here, Rody. One of which is, of course, the Granite Island Causeway, which is now able to, a section of that is able to collect passengers direct.
Yeah, Diz, there's been a new landing positioned approximately halfway across the causeway, and that's now operational. It's been opened up, and that can accommodate 2 vessels at the same time. So, Diz, we're not exactly sure what that's being used for at this stage.
Yes, well, we're hoping the duck boat.
Yeah, that tour boat, the one that goes from Cape Jarvis to Victor Harbour and takes tours.
Yeah.
You know, the one that gets in the way of everyone trying to put their boats in and out at the boat ramp?
Yeah, that one, while we're all trying to get out there and smash the tuna.
Yeah, and they're just sort of pushing people out of the way. And
they really come in and flex their muscle, don't they?
Yeah, the skipper of some poor boat's off getting the car, and there's a couple of kids holding the vessel, and that boat just sort of looks at them and says, "Jump out of the way, fellas."
Yeah, they've also forgot to put their bung in, so Dad's running back to get the car. It's just an absolute circus down there.
So if Moira Jenkins, the mayor of Victor Harbour, is listening, I think we relocate the duck boat over to the Granite Island Causeway and free up the boat ramp area for us recos.
I can't help but feel like there was a bit of this in freeing up the Victor Harbour ramp.
I hope so, because otherwise I don't know who's running this place.
Shout out to Moira. And of course, Rody, while we're talking about the causeway, the old causeway, of course, some lovely Clydesdales just trot along the causeway, is being decommissioned.
It is, Diz, and that will be completed in late 2022.
Yeah, so a bit of work to be done there, but no, that'll be good. That'll be good. Roddy, last story to wrap up the news segment for this week's episode is the Maiponga Reservoir SACAT hearing, which we are going to hear a bit about. John Peake, age 66, has lodged a complaint basically saying that he's being discriminated against because he isn't a kayaker. And he's using his dinghy.
So he uses a dinghy with a couple of oars, so he's not using any sort of motor. But strictly the rule says no kayaking only. And I think he got done for this April last year. And he's taken them to the Equal Opportunity Commission, claiming he's been discriminated against.
Yes, and he's basically saying he's got some medical conditions which have led to him not or making it more difficult for him to launch a kayak. And some of those medical conditions include arthritis, difficulty in balancing, spinal deterioration, poor vision, and frequent leg cramps.
Yeah, well, there's a bit to get through there.
There's a fair bit to work through, but let's take it from the bottom upwards. Leg cramps are reasonably easy treated with a couple of magnesium tablets.
Should we send John Peake down to the Christie's Beach Pharmacy and you can sort him out?
I'm not going to look. We shouldn't laugh at John Peake because we don't want to be. The SACAT hearing hasn't happened yet. We don't want to be party to any sort of foul play. But yeah, I mean, I guess really John is suggesting that he can make sure that he doesn't disrupt any of the sediment in the reservoir with his dinghy, no more than your everyday kayaker would.
So yeah, he's claiming that he can get in and out of his kayak safely and not stirring up the sediment. He also sought statistics from SA Water on how many capsizes happen involving kayakers and how many of them have been recorded. And I assume saying that every kayaker that falls in stirs up sediment.
does Mr. Peak think that SA Water's got a camera down there just watching people capsize their kayaks?
He must. But anyway, that has been dismissed, that claim, so he's lost.
Oh, boom.
Anyway, nice try.
Nice try, worth noting in the news report.
Well, yeah, look, I think it's a interesting piece, and look, he probably has somewhat of a point.
Oh, yeah.
Is there that much difference between a rowing dinghy and a kayak?
Probably not.
Do you think he could get around it by, you know how in a dinghy you row backwards, but a kayak you row forwards?
Yeah, but like...
Is that the main difference?
Where are you going to draw the line if we sort of just drop our staby in there and just row it around with a couple of oars? Is that the same as a dinghy?
I don't know, mate. Will we take that to SACAT too?
How do you... They're going to have a meterage.
Some of those kayaks are pretty long.
Yeah, but when you're talking dinghies, you're going into a different vessel, mate.
Yeah, but where do
Because you're allowed canoes. So presumably you can have, a double-person canoe, which is, like you say, quite a lengthy vessel.
There's certainly some grey area there.
There is. Anyway, Rhodey, that was a good news segment this week.
It is, Diz. Yeah, good to get through a bit there. It's been a couple of weeks since our last podcast. So
bit of meaty stuff in there, bit of sort of recapping, and bit of a interesting one there to round out. But of course, Rhodey, the bit that everybody has been waiting for is to hear from Jason.
Jason Fulham from Port MacDonnell Fishing Charters.
Let's get him on the line. Great to be joined here, Rhodey, by Jason from Port MacDonnell Fishing Charters. Thanks for coming on the show.
Yeah, cheers, mate.
So, Jason, we had a great trip out with your offside at Tyson while you were off fishing in Western Australia, I think. So we're going to get into the 5 questions. Tell us about your best fish, Jason.
Okay. Well, rightio, you sort of got me stumped there, boys. But, I don't know. I've been operating out of Port Mac for 22 years now. So over that amount of time, I've had a lot of good fish come on board. But I guess one that sort of means a fair bit is probably the first fish that we actually landed on our boat. I bought the boat in 2006, and we were trawling out over the shelf for albacore, and we managed to hook up on a 83 kilo tuna, and we landed that after 5 hours on a smiling jack. Actually, it was just a plastic lure, so it took us a while to land it because we only had a crap lure.
And
but when we landed it, it was like the first fish, and it was 83 kilos, so that's what we christened their boat with.
And Tyson was telling us that sort of really started the run of everyone targeting the big bluefin down there at Port Mac. Is that right?
2006 that was. So there was a few fish in that year that was caught around that sort of weight. In 2009 is when basically we caught 3 fish over 100 kilos, and that was the first time that a fish had been weighed over 100 kilos in Port Mac. And then about 2013, I reckon, was when the real rush of big tuna started sort of happening. So, so the last 10 years sort of we've had a lot of barrels coming through every year sort of thing.
And you've just seen more and more boats then, I suppose, Jace, year on year?
Oh, yes, definitely creates a lot of interest, and it's a world-class fishery now, really. Like, it's amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. And Jason, tell us about your favourite thing about getting out there fishing.
Favourite thing about getting out there fishing? Oh, look, I've been fishing since I was a kid, mate, so like lots of people, as a charter operator, you like to see people have fun catching fish, and, that's all it is, just having fun, mate.
And Jason, tell us about your first fishing memory or what got you into it.
First fishing memory. Look, I used to go fishing with my dad all the time in Whaler. Grew up there, moved to Port Mac when I was 14. Used to catch a lot of whiting, snapper, and cuttlefish and squid and all that sort of stuff at Whaler. So, yeah, just loved fishing, mate, and then moved to a fishing town, and all my friends are fishermen. A lot of my friends are fishermen, should I say, and I grew up with them playing footy and everything, and, just kept fishing.
Yeah, fantastic, mate. And What do you like targeting most? Is it getting out there chasing the big barrels, or is there something we talked about your trip to the sort of warmer areas? What's your favourite sort of fishing?
Favourite sort of fishing? That's I don't know. Everyone likes things that pulls a bit of line, so your tuna's always up there. I've been to New Zealand, fished for the kingfish over there. They're really good fun. Hooked up on a swordfish over there as well, and that was a bit of a battle. We didn't actually land that one, but it was a 4-hour fight. Tassie trumpet is a really good fighting fish from 120 metres, 140 metres. They sort of thump all the way to the top, so they're a great fish to catch. Back in the younger day, we used to do the deep sea fishing by manual. Still a few people around that do, but nowadays it's all electric. But I think our biggest harpooker we've caught out of Port Mac's 42 kilos on our boat. So that was a pretty impressive fish to catch. I can keep rattling. But over in the west, I've been to Exmouth quite a few times over there, and I really love the Red Emperor there. There's lots of variety over there, but Red Emperor is one of my favourites over there.
Yeah, beautiful, Jace. Well, it sounds like you've caught more exciting fish than anyone I know, so well done on that. All these years chartering, you must have had a funny fishing story you can tell us, mate.
A funny fishing story? Okay. Well, I took some Chinese people out one time, and they wanted to catch crayfish, so we were using drop nets to catch crayfish, and none of them spoke English, so we're all like doing hand signals and trying to communicate this way, and we got this crayfish in the net, and it was a good sized crayfish, and they were all pretty happy, and it was actually around the Chinese New Year, and this guy looked at me so happy, and I said to him, "Sing Yan Kai La," and Sing Yan Kai La means Happy New Year in Chinese, and we both sort of connected, our eyes both connected, and we knew what we were talking about. So it was actually a really funny sort of feel-good moment.
How good. I bet you would have had some serious missions out there, because I'm not sure whether Tice told you, we had a funny fishing story from the day that we were out there on your boat with one of the people on the boat had knocked off their 6 cans of Captain Morgan by 9 a.m. and was carrying on a fair bit.
I did hear about, is that Jim, was it?
Yeah, it was Jimmy Morgs. We called him Jimmy Morgan by the end of the day.
I don't know. I haven't met Jimmy, but Tyson did tell me he was a bit of a character and had a good day.
Yeah, he absolutely had a good day. Jace, talk to us about Port Mac Charters. We had a spectacular day out with Tice, but for all our listeners who haven't been out with you yet, tell them what they can expect with a day out you down there.
Oh, well, basically, we always try our best for everybody. So, if you're targeting big tuna, we'll fish till dark if we have to. We've caught fish in the dark, landed fish in the dark in the past. So we always try 100% for everybody. And the most important thing is that everybody has a good day and has fun. Sometimes you don't catch that fish, sometimes, but you put the effort in to do it. But it's still, as long as everyone's had a good day, that's what it's all really about. And we like to sort of, when we do catch fish, we like to look after our fish. We kill, gut, bleed, everything like that, put it into a saltwater ice slurry. So you've got good quality fish to take home. We fillet them for you, provide a barbecue, bottled water. Basically, just come on the boat and enjoy your day. You don't have to worry about anything.
Yeah, Jace, we were certainly very impressed that Tice was more than happy to stay out past I think it says 4 o'clock on your website, but was more than happy to stay out in the dark. So well done on that. And also, it's great that you guys fillet the fish and did a really good job of them too.
Yeah, well, some people don't do a lot of fishing and don't know how to fillet, so it's just another service that we provide.
Yeah, and I suppose the other thing we want to know about, Jace, is we know all about the barrels, but what else is out there that is popular to target with Port Mac Fishing Charters?
Well, we bottom fish from 50 metres out to 120, 140 metres. In those depths, we get gummy shark, school shark, terraki, knife jaw, snapper. You always get some gurnards, maybe a Tassie trumpeter. We've caught the odd amberjack, Samson fish. They come through every now and then. Pretty hard to target. We also do some deep sea fishing out over the shelf for blue-eye trevally, harpooka, good quality eating fish. We're fishing 300 to 400 to 500 metres, using electrics most of the time. We do sometimes fish in close, 5 metres for the snapper during the summer months when the snapper come in to the shallower waters. And also we, do lobster charters for people that want to target lobster too.
Yeah, fantastic, mate. It's certainly something for everyone. And we were down there trying to catch a barrel and had a fantastic day out. We didn't quite get onto a barrel, but how have they been this year? You've had a fair bit of success, and in comparison to last year, last few years have been quite good.
Yeah, look, last year the fish didn't really locate at Port MacDonnell. They sort of located off the rig in Victoria. So we got a few fish that just passed through, but this year's just been crazy. It's probably obviously the best year I've had here for sure. I think, I'm not sure how many we've caught, but it's quite a lot. We've lost count. So yesterday we got another 3. I thought, how long is this going to last for? The season's gone for so long. So it's been crazy.
And Jace, one thing we did notice, we've been out at Port Mac targeting barrels probably 5 or 6 years ago, was it, Diz? But I think the difference we noticed was a lot of boats, including your own, was live baiting. Is that a recent thing?
Live baiting? Yeah, look, I've been doing live baiting for quite a while now. Probably, since 2016 when I went over to New Zealand and we did a lot of live baiting over there, and sort of picked up on that sort of type of fishing when I went there, and come back here and utilise that on school fish when the smaller tuna when they're very finicky and not taking lures. We used to do a fair bit then, and we've always found that we'd catch a bigger size school fish when we were using the live baits for some reason. So that was interesting, but yeah, barrels was sort of it's a bit more fun way of catching them, I guess. You sort of get a little bit more excitement out of just sitting there and then watching the rod lean over and strip out a heap of line.
Yeah, no, it's certainly a lot of bloody activity going on, and there was quite a few boats out the day when we out, but everyone's sort of huddling around a school and getting the liveys in the water. You're not wrong. It's a fair bit of excitement going on. And Jace, tell us about your trip to WA. You had a good time, got onto a few fish. Good trip.
Yeah, look, it was a good trip. It was more just of a chill-out trip. We know a guy over there. He had his own boat and camper trailer. He sort of sets himself up for 5 months of the year over there. So we flew in and went and caught up with him, and probably got about 5 days fishing out of the 12. So it was quite windy. So a lot of the time we sort of couldn't get out. But we got some nice ruby snapper fishing in 300 metres over there, and we got a little black marlin. We got a few cod, one red emperor, which is about 6 kilo. He was a good fish. But a lot of the sharks, there's a lot of sharks over there, and basically a lot of the real good fish that we hooked up got taken by sharks. So yeah.
Yeah, beautiful, Jace. It's always good to get out and fish some new and exciting waters. But back on the home front, Jace, we want you to tell us what's next. Tyson was telling us about maybe some accommodation you had in the pipeline. Can you tell us what's happening with that?
Yes, the accommodation's up and going now. So we've built a shed basically on our own property. It's 35 metres by 18 metres, so it's quite large. And in that premises, we've put in accommodation, which is 11 metres by 18 metres. So it's fully self-contained, 3 bedroom, 2 bathroom. And we can sort of sleep up to 12 people there.
Yeah, fantastic. No doubt that'll be very popular for those who might want to come down and do a couple of days with you. Do you get you obviously get regular groups every year who book it in the calendar and come down for a few days fishing with you, Jace?
Yeah, that's right. We haven't just built it just for our charter clients. It's also, for anybody to use. We get quite a few guys come over with their own boats, and the shed's big enough for people to park their boats in and not have to worry about taking their fishing rods or fishing tackle or gear out of their boats when they get in. We're starting to get quite a few people that are giving us a call about it.
And Jace, you've got a great social media with your Facebook, plenty of photos, so that's obviously where people can keep in contact with you. And we have been seeing as you said, you've been getting plenty of fish in the last week or so. Do you expect the season to go for much longer if any of the listeners want to make a last dash down there?
Oh, look, it's always hard to say when the fish are going to go away or when they're going to be finally all caught, whatever, but it's quite surprising how long the season's gone for now. But in the past, we've had seasons where we've caught barrels in August, October, September and November as well. So sometimes the season sort of, you think it's finished and then they've come back in a different month. It's hard to say when the fishing's going to be finished, or when the season's going to end. But yeah, at the moment there's still some fish there. So it just depends on also how many boats are fishing on the day to what your chances are like of getting one. As you sort of witnessed, there was quite a few boats out when you were out there when the weather's nice. When the weather's a bit rougher like yesterday, we sort of had more opportunity, and we got 3 fish yesterday, and 2 of them were about 60 kilo, which was surprising. That it's hard to say whether more fish are coming and whatever, so because the size difference, but we ended up picking up another one on the way home, which went 130 kilos. So it's a pretty good day. We had eight people on board, and they were all pretty stoked with that.
Yeah, well, I suppose that's fishing, isn't it? You never quite know what you're going to get next.
No, that's right. It's hard to say if more fish are going to come or whether the whole lot just move on. So yeah.
Yeah, all right, Jace. Thanks a lot for coming on the podcast, Jason. It's been a really good chat, and thanks for having us out on your boat a couple of weeks ago. It was a ripper day out despite not getting a barrel, so well done on a great operation you run.
Yeah, cool. Thanks very much, boys. Appreciate it. We'll do it again. Give us another call, mate.
Absolutely, Jace. Thanks again for your time. We'll catch up with you down there soon.
No worries. Thanks, guys. See ya.
Roddy, great to chat to Jace, and it was even better being on his lovely vessel down there in Port Mac, getting out with his 2IC Tice.
Yeah, it is. Great operation they have there, and very well done to them on what a great business they've built up.
Absolutely. Roddy, let's get stuck into the report because we've got a bit to get through here. The salmon, of course, the Australian Salmon Fishing Championships down in Elliston. Some big salmon caught. Obviously, that's the salmon mecca of the state down in that sort of west coast area.
Yeah, it is. They've got a weekly mystery weight winners popping up, and there's some big fish getting caught. Yep. And also a monthly photo competition that you can enter and also vote on their website for the winners. Yeah, so that's really good. And, of course, if you're down in those parts, might be school holidays, you might have booked in a bit of a trip away, then get amongst it. Yeah, it is, and we shared a photo from Team Hardcore Fishing the other day on the Instagram. They caught some nice salmon over at Fowler's Bay. Oh, yeah, a couple of stonkers. So shout out to them for sharing us and keeping us involved in what they're up to. Yeah, no, really good. Good to see them getting out there. They were playing along the day we were out there chasing the barrels. Yeah, they did, Diz. They were taking some live photos of us. They were stalking us there for a minute. They were stalking us a bit. Nothing like a bit of friendly rivalry when you're out in the water. Yeah, no, nothing like it at all. And yeah, no, it was all good. It was all good. Good day out, that's for sure, and I'm sure they had a good day too. Rhodey, while we're on salmon, there is, of course, a local salmon comp being run down at Housey Tackle this time of year.
people obviously start targeting them. They might get their waders on, nip down a Wapinga or something like that, challenge themselves, cop the elements down there and flick some little slugs out into some schools. But big fish caught, new sort of comp leader.
That's down at How's Your Tackle, Diz?
Down at How's Your Tackle, yep. Boys down there running a comp.
Who's leading?
Oh, I can't remember the bloke's name, Rhodey. Don't ask me for details.
Yeah, good report item there, Diz.
Well, I'm not in the news of specifics, mate. I'm just giving. I'm more of your.
All right, guys, we've got a new winner. We don't know who it is. We don't know what they call it, but they're winning.
I'm more of. Well, they don't tell you what the length is or the weight, do they?
No, well, they could.
No, but they don't, because they like to keep. They like to keep the suspense.
All right, Diz, let's keep it moving because you've stuffed that one right up.
You keep going. I'll try and see if I can't nut out some
This
specifics.
is good radio here, Diz. All right, so the barrels are still firing at Port Mac. They're probably becoming less consistent, but there was a couple of photos shared on the Port MacDonnell Fishing Charters page over the weekend with a couple of big fish caught. And if you follow the Portland tackle store, they are regularly sharing some more catches as well, Diz. So the barrel's still there, becoming a bit more hit and miss, and obviously more miss than hit on the day we went out, but still some barrels around for those that are keen.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think the Portland bait and tackle, like you say, everyone's still getting them off Port Mac.
Yeah.
So people crossing the border there, getting into them down at Port Mac, they're obviously still swimming through there, but certainly by all accounts that we got while we were down there is they were firing, about a month ago. They were getting them pretty well every day, but seemed to sort of slow down a bit.
Yeah, it certainly slowed, but there was also some talk while we were down there that there is sometimes another run. And I remember Tyson saying they're still getting pretty regular catches of big barrels over in Tassie, which is a good sign that there might be another run this year. So keep your eyes peeled on that. Very
good. All right, watch this space. Rhodey, the winter whiting, of course, this time of year, they fire up down in Yorks. We were down there June long weekend, treated ourselves, got onto a good patch. We've already reported on that, so let's not dwell on it. But Joey Virgin got into him, I think the Savo.
Yeah, no, I saw that on the socials, Diz. That was a good esky load of fish. So well done to Joey.
Big fish too, some big horses.
Marion Bay is a good place for those big whiting.
Yes, yep. No, they certainly looked like they'd got onto them in a big way there. So, well done, Joe. If you feel like sort of sending us a few tips and marks, then we certainly wouldn't be against it.
And talking about whiting, Diz, my old man just got a bit arrogant and asked me for another bag of fillets. And my freezer is now empty.
Oh.
So I don't know what you're doing next weekend, but we might go fishing.
Sounds like we need to get over there. Get over to maybe we'll go down to Marion Bay.
Well, your old man did some sort of dodgy trade with someone for some spots, didn't he?
Yeah, he did some undercover sort of mafia type of deals.
So we might try them out, Diz, down at Marion Bay.
I can tell you what, some of those GPS marks people have there, hotly protected.
Someone's given Davo the GPS marks for the boat ramp. And Davo's done heaps of labour for him or done something.
Beautiful.
He'll give them to us and we'll go and drop the pick 5 metres out from the boat ramp.
Or the sort of, aisle 5, the IGA, something like that.
Oh, Diz, that's good stuff.
Where the tinned gear's kept. Yep, good shout. Rhodey, what's been happening? It's in the report, of course, this week. We want to hear about your COVID ISO activities.
Yeah, Diz, got some mulch delivered, spread that, did the hedges, and then got sick of gardening. So I got into a bit of cooking.
Yep.
And the school tuna we caught down at Port MacDonnell, we turned that into some, what would you call it, Diz? You'd call it like gourmet canned tuna.
Yeah, homemade. Yeah, we'll guess it's, homemade canned tuna, homemade jarred tuna.
Yeah, so it was simmering for 3 hours. Some secret herbs and spices.
Yep.
And then jarred up and sealed, and one of those things you don't even need to put in the fridge.
Even better.
Preserved tuna, you'd call it.
Yeah, preserved in some oil.
Bit of wine.
Few do you know what? I did taste some, right?
Did you?
It's
What'd you think?
excellent.
You happy?
Excellent. But we should have put some chili in.
Oh, now you tell me.
You should have put some chili in.
I just thought I'd make original to start with, and then we'd see what we thought.
Yeah, I'd do that. I'd definitely do that again. It's really good. I thought just a bit of chili in there, it'd just age nicely with the tuna, you know. I wonder how long you can keep that for. Probably 6 months.
Well, theoretically, a pretty long time, I reckon. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, you wouldn't eat it 3 years down the track, would you?
You might. Anyway, shout out to Jack for that recipe.
Well done, Jack. Well, probably Jack's family.
Yeah, look, I'm not sure Jack's the cook in the
I don't
family,
think
but
he
he's
can
certainly
claim it.
taken credit.
Yeah, I don't think he can claim it. Anyway, good. Well,
And then the rest of the COVID week, I just sorted out this mixer.
Yeah, well, yeah, we won't tell the listeners about how we struggled to get this recording together, but anyway.
I would like to get a video of you trying to instruct me how to use a microphone, though.
You got to get in there, mate. You don't want to get any feedback. Okay, Roddy. Well, that rounds out the report and your COVID activities. Thanks for keeping us up to speed on everything. I thought you might have been able to clean the boat or do something useful. You didn't get that done, which was disappointing, but I'll forgive you. I suppose you had other things to do. Look after the family while they were all down with it.
Yeah, shout out to Mum for getting the whole family sick.
Yeah, well done, Robin, the super spreader. Rody, the tackle item this week is just going to cast our minds back a bit to our time down at Port Mac on Port MacDonnell Charters. So as you alluded to earlier, the day out there was spectacular. We were chasing the tuna. We were really looking for bait balls around the 30-metre mark.
Yeah, Diz. So when we found these bait balls, we pulled up on them.
Yep.
And the first task was to catch the bait.
Yep.
And we did that using a nifty little product called a sabiki rig.
Yeah. So we used the sabiki rig with a sort of hunk of lead on the end.
Yep.
Dropped it down. Sort of did a bit of jigging with it.
Yep.
And we're talking double headers, triple headers. Think I might have even seen a quad come over the side, early doors. Yeah, really good. Little slimies.
Yeah, there was some yakkers in the mix.
Little slimies, yakkers, the red baits.
Yeah, they seemed to be they were the smallest of the baits, but that seemed to be what the locals wanted their hands on.
Yeah. And the seals were smashing these bait balls. We saw dolphins late in the day. Obviously a fair bit of activity around these bait balls. Gannets smashing the surface all around the boat, along with like 20 other boats just hovering around this bait ball, flicking liveys into it, just hoping that the big barrel tuna would just come and bust up.
And interesting is I've never seen that many seals caught or hooked.
No, yeah, well, lots
Normally seals manage to get their way off, but there were a number of other boats around us that did, for a short period, have a seal hooked on their line.
Yeah, well, early in the day when we thought the activity was really heating up, the gannets were going crazy. There were seals everywhere, big bait balls sounding up. I think Tice might have even marked a couple of fish at that point.
Yeah.
And yeah, he sort of looked across this other boat and everyone was like, oh, he's on. And Tice was like, nah, boys, that's a seal.
Yeah, it is. So the reason why we talk about these seals is because of them stealing all our bait, we had to be bloody busy on this sabiki rig, which is the tackle item of the week, Diz. And what it is it's a number of dropper lines off a main line, I suppose. It's like a paternoster rig,
Yeah.
with a number of hooks and no bait. It just has like a piece of shiny, metallic sort of looking film, or
It's like a little fleck.
like a cellophane, would you call it?
Yeah, it is a bit of a cellophane.
So, and
It's just something to create a bit of a attraction in the water.
And it's great, Diz, because you don't need to worry about, baiting up cockles or any of that. You just chuck your little rig down, your jig, your sabiki jig. And, like we said, we're getting double headers, triple headers, plenty of bait fish.
Yeah, no, it was good. And then Tice, the boat, filled, big esky full of just pumping a bit of fresh water through there occasionally throughout the day, keep the liveys going. It was good. I think we had sort of a dozen, something like that, early in the day. just kept refreshing it when we dropped on a bait ball to get a bit more bait, top it up, that sort of thing.
Yeah, and it really was a great way of collecting fresh bait. And if you were going to do, let's say you were doing a West Coast mulloway trip, that'd be well worth your while taking a sabiki rig out into a big bait ball down there somewhere and catching heaps of them.
Yeah, absolutely, Rody. Couldn't agree with you anymore, mate. Good little tackle item of the week there. So basically, if you're getting down to Port Mac to chase some barrels, or you're on a bait ball there and you want to get some liveys, get yourself a sabiki rig. Rody, great episode. I'm sure the listeners have enjoyed this premium sound quality that we're bringing to their ears. It's been great to catch up with you. Where can the listeners find us?
Diz, keep us up to date on all your fishing adventures on the Facebook and the Instagram. We've also uploaded a couple of our episodes onto YouTube as a bit of a trial to see whether they get some downloads, some listens. So you can catch, I think, our last 3 episodes on YouTube.
Yeah, it's good. It's great to be on YouTube. We're getting around it, expanding our market share as South Australia's premier fishing podcast. Is that fair to say?
It certainly is, Diz. And if you are like Team Hardcore Fishing and you're out there in the great outdoors, make sure you tag us in your catches. We want to know what you're doing, where you're doing it, who you're doing it with, and we'll give you a retweet.
Retweet. It's so we can come out and get you spots.
Pretty much. Anyway, Diz, it's been a pleasure. Shout out to Jason from Port MacDonnell Charters for coming on. A great guest, and we really did have a good day out with his business with Tyson the other week.
Absolutely. Good to see you, Roddy. Take care. We'll catch up with you next time.
Rody and Diz hope you enjoyed today's episode of All the Gear But No Idea. Keep up to date by liking and sharing us on Facebook and Instagram. And you can subscribe on all the major podcast platforms. Until next time, good luck fishing.